fellow travelers, and welcome to Diverse Stars podcast. All my loyal listeners, thank you for continued support. And remember, click the subscribe button, everybody. It's an amazing episode because Tatum Matthews boards the mothership. You know her as Sherry and the Artifice Girl. Come aboard as we go traversing the stars. Hello, Miss Matthews. Thank you so much for coming to Diverse Stars podcast.
Hi, thank you for having me.
It's totally my pleasure. So we start out with a question of inspiration. So what inspired your love of acting and who were your earliest influences?
Ooh, that's a good question. What inspired my acting career? I would just say that I started in dance and I took this musical theater workshop. And I think my parents could just tell that it was something that I loved doing and I was just gonna love doing it for as long as I can. And then so I started in theater and professional theater, and then I got into film a couple years ago. And I don't really have a favorite in the industry. I think it's all pretty fun. Some role models I have in theater, I really love Sutton Foster in all she does. I think she's really talented. Who else? Oh, I saw Taylor Latterman in Mean Girls on Broadway, and she was great too. I love that show. And then as far as film, Meryl Streep is a big one for me. She's just so talented and she's really diverse in everything that she does, which I aspire to be like and just different in every role that I do. And also kind of relating to that from Mama Mia and Amanda Seyfried. I think they're both just really great people in general. And also are of course really talented actors and a great mother-daughter pair.
So when did you start getting lessons in acting? Because I mean, you're very good at it. So I mean, most people who are at your level are 20s and so forth. When did you get started?
Around when I was 7, at least in theater, and then in film, I probably started taking classes when I was 11 or 10, somewhere around there. I take lessons out in New York on Zoom. So yeah.
So how is theater acting for you different than film acting?
Ooh, so theater I feel like keeps you a lot more on your toes because you have a live audience right there, and if something goes wrong, you gotta improv. I feel like with film you can do multiple takes if you need to, of course. So there's perks to both. I like that. I like that theater keeps you on your toes a lot because it just kind of makes it fun and something different happens every night. But film is definitely nice because if you mess up, you can do another take, and also you get like live feedback from the director and everyone on the set. So I like both, and I think there are definitely perks to both.
So some actors, when they do film, and as you said, multiple takes, some actors do different versions for each take, or they do the same take multiple times. So where do you fall?
Ooh, that's hard. Normally auditions, I normally stick to one take, but if it's kind of a role that they don't give too much context about, I'll do multiple because I feel like just to give them more sides, but normally I stick to either two if I do multiple.
So if I read correctly, you play Erin Walton in the Waltons reboot films. So the role was previously played by Mary Beth McDonnell. So how did you prepare for the role, and was it difficult trying to inhabit the performance of a previously played character?
Definitely. I wanted to pay tribute to her because she does a fantastic job. And I did watch a little bit of the original series, season 1, and maybe a little bit of season 2, I think. But I wanted to approach her similar to Mary Beth did, actually, because I feel like there needed to be still a similar quality, but we still did want to make it a little bit of our own. So I brought what I normally bring to a character like that. And Erin's fun. She's mischievous and she's got a lot of different sides to her. So I wanted to make sure I showed all that. But it was just a really fun role to play. And Mary Beth is really sweet.
Now the cool thing about the Waltons, and the show's been around for a long time, the original, and it's actually a pretty sizable fan base. Is that something that you discovered after you took the role, that there's a whole lot of Walton fans that are out there?
Yeah, and the Waltons fans are so sweet. They're so nice and dedicated to the show. They're like, I watched it every night after dinner whenever it came on. And I think that's just so great that they're really passionate about the show and it's something that they love.
Yeah, I had the opportunity to interview I guess Michael Learned
Yeah.
from the show as well. And like I said, and I looked and I didn't even realize how popular it was, but there's so many fan groups for the Walt is so amazed by it.
Yeah, they're a big fan base, and it's great that I was able to be a part of that franchise.
Now, was it that role that got you the role of the Artifice Girl in the Artifice Girl as Sherry?
Not really. I actually knew the director. We're all local to Jacksonville, Florida, and I knew him from a previous show that I did, a theater show actually. We all have a theater background, everyone in the cast. And so I think it was a really fun thing because you already knew everyone on the set. And it was cool that I got to like when I showed up on set, I didn't know who exactly I'd be working with, but I ended up knowing most everyone there. And of course, knowing Franklin was great and he gives such great direction. So I basically got the role because he was like, hey, I have this project and I think you'd be a good fit for it. And I'm so grateful to him for that.
So, what did he tell you about the project? Because on paper, it's kind of a weird sounding project. I mean, don't get me wrong, the film was absolutely fantastic, but it's in a weird concept. So, how was it told to you about what the film actually was about?
He told me that I'd be playing an AI, which was very different for me. And I was like, okay, well, I'm up for the challenge because I love challenges and roles that have just a lot of like levels. I think it's really good and challenging to play. So I was like, yeah, I'm totally open to it. And talked to my parents about it because it is a little bit of a heavier subject matter. But I had such great trust with him and the rest of the cast that I felt really comfortable going into it.
So, what were you told about Sherry when you earned the role for it?
We basically talked about her purpose as an AI and a lot of little details about how it kind of should be played. So it mainly focused on her blinking and that she should blink. I figured out the AIs actually blink a lot. So that was kind of a constant thing in my mind on set that it had to be like in time and a lot of blinking, very unnatural. And I also focused on her posture because they can't be slouchers because they have to be super just professional and upright. And also her diction because there are a lot of big words in the script that I had to learn, but I wanted to make sure that I was pronouncing them all correctly and that everything just sounded clear.
So, when you're talking about, like you said, a lot of big words to speak, did you have to like figure out what those words like meant, or or your vocabulary just large enough you already knew?
It really, I feel like, has expanded because of the role because he would like tell me how to say it. I think we talked a few about definitions, but a big thing that helped me with pronouncing the words and getting that like artificial sound was Alexa actually, because she has an app that is it's called like text to something where you can put in your text and then she'll repeat it back to you.
Mm.
And you can like select the speed. It's really cool. So I would put in my lines and she'd read them back to me at the speed that I wanted the lines to be. So it was really nice. And of course, she pronounced the words all perfectly. So I think just repeating that with her was really helpful.
So, this is a little nice advertisement for Alexa. Alexa.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the other cool thing too, you are the Artifice Girl, so you are literally the title character. Is there pressure in being the title character? Have you been the star of a feature or TV show before this?
Not really before. This was definitely going into it. I didn't really feel pressure, but I knew that I had to do a good job. But I feel like everyone in the film actually has a very big role. So I feel like it was just like a team effort and making sure that everyone just worked together and everyone did such a beautiful job. But I think again the trust came into play and just knowing that we were all going to work through it and with Franklin's direction that we were going to make it the best it could be.
So, I can't help but imagine like the difficulty of playing Sherry in this film is that you're both playing something that's supposed to kind of look realistic enough to be bought into, but artificial enough that we can catch that it's not real. Sort of like that uncanny valley of personality effect. So, how did you approach playing something that kind of has to walk that line very carefully?
I wanted to approach her as a real girl, actually, because even though she is AI, I think humans bring a certain quality that I wanted to bring still, because I think that AIs are honestly pretty good at being convincing, and she had to be convincing enough to convince these people that she was a real girl. So I was like, it can't be too, fake and stereotypical. So I went to approach her as a real girl, and then I just kind of found little moments to make that uncanny just a little bit more. And so I'd like tilt my head in like a very unnatural way, or I'd blink. The blinking was a big thing. I think there were just little things that I did to make sure that it still seemed a little bit unnatural, but overall bringing that just quality in my acting of being just a real girl.
So these unreal aspects that you added to the character, did you like practice these in a mirror? When someone suggested this to you? Like, how did you get, actually nail those moments?
Yeah, I feel like I did practice with the mirror a little bit, but also we had a ton of Zoom rehearsals as a cast and just with the director, Franklin Rich. And they just really helped in practicing all those little things and getting the timing right. And I definitely practiced them with the lines too, and where I think that it would fit within the line. I didn't want to do it too often because, it still has to be natural, but I wanted to throw it in there a little bit. So definitely had to practice those moments and want to put it in.
Actually, it's kind of funny. You're mentioning about practicing, rehearsing in Zoom. I was about to say, is it difficult to learn to act with somebody else through Zoom? I think myself, in many ways, your character kind of was zoomed to half the movie with your fellow actors.
Yes. Well, thankfully, I think we all had pretty good Wi-Fi, so there wasn't too much of a lag to it. And I think I've just gotten used to being on Zoom, honestly, taking classes on Zoom and just how to get that timing still okay. But yeah, I feel like it worked out great. It was a lot easier because you can just sit and you could talk for like a while. So it was really nice.
Now, this is too much of a spoiler. Please let me know, and we'll cut that part. But there's a very poignant scene in the film where your character is dancing. Now, was that something you choreographed yourself? Did someone teach you about what different moves to do? And what did you think the meaning was of not only the moment but the dance itself for you and the character?
I can probably talk about this. I can clarify with the director, but I think I can talk about it maybe. So I will say for the dancing part, it was choreographed by my dance teacher, Brittany Boyd. And we wanted to work with it almost as improv movements, especially in the beginning, and then it became choreographed, but kind of just her trying to figure out this new body because it's a very new and different thing to her. So it's like, wow, my arm can move like this, or wow, my leg can do this. So just kind of like almost confused in the beginning, and then she kind of starts to get the hang of it, and that's where you see it kind of lead to.
See, someone who's a professional dancer, like you said, you had danced in the past. Is it hard to then kind of learn not to look like you know how to dance? You know what I'm saying? And for
Yeah,
that
no, I
moment.
know what you mean. I think it was just kind of I just put her myself in her shoes and how she would feel in that moment. And dance is a great way to express your emotions. And so that was a big thing for Cherry to express her emotions in this play. And so yeah, I think I just put myself in her shoes and kind of just forgot about the technique for a little bit. And I think it worked out, and she kind of seems like confused and just like, whoa, this is like something that I'm able to do. And it's really cool that it's possible.
It's a fantastic moment. Like I said, the movie is such a moving film. And I will say this: like after I watched the movie, I immediately reached out to the director and to some of the other actors for interviews with them. And luckily, they're gonna those interviews will happen because but it's such a strong film that, like I said, it got stuck in my head hours. I don't think, and I'm just like thinking about it and moving over to the different moments and different scenes. It was wonderful. What did you think having seen the final product?
It was so surreal, and I think it just turned out really, really great. It's definitely moving. Like people behind me in the theaters have been crying before, and I'm like, wow, it's just really cool that we can touch people in such a way. And it'll definitely leave you thinking. Like everyone that I've talked to is we just have conversations for hours about it and just what their take was on this moment in it, or what they just thought about it overall, or the ending. So there's a lot of different things, but it was really cool to see it in a movie theater on a big screen for the first time.
Now, another very fascinating aspect of your performance is that, at least from what I can tell, is that for the most part, without giving things away later on, almost all your scenes are performed without separate from the cast. You're on screen. Now, when that was being filmed, were you being filmed like reading there with the cast there? Were you being read separately and you just went over the scenes and paused for a react? How did that actually work?
So I was actually in a separate room from the cast. So I think you might be able to tell it's filmed in one room of the cast, the first and second act. And so I was in a separate room right next to them. And I was kind of listening through the wall. And so it was all in real time, which is crazy that we were able to make it work. But I think we pulled it off in the timing. And so yeah, I would just listen, and then when we cut, Franklin would like yell through the wall, or he'd come out and give me notes, and it was great, and it was honestly kind of fun and just another challenge, which I really enjoyed.
Yeah, because a lot of acting they say is reacting to your other
Yes.
castmates seeing what they're doing and reacting to their emotions or timing. But if you're not there with it, how does that affect you creating the rhythm and the chemistry with that cast and make it work?
I focused a lot on their voice to kind of tell their emotions because I couldn't obviously see their face. And I think your emotion, your voice tells a lot about what your face would be like looking like. So I took a lot of that and just kind of imagined. Also, they were just great about being a little bit louder so I could hear. And I had a pair of headphones in my lap because obviously you couldn't show it. But I had a pair of headphones in my lap that I was like listening to them through as well. So I think we made it work, but it was definitely a little bit of a challenge at first to get used to that rhythm and timing. But yeah, I think I just kind of imagined me being in the room and with them. And it was great what they were able to portray just through their voice.
So just for clarification, so when you're trying to listen to what they're saying through the walls and all this other stuff, you were not only speaking your line, but you're actually doing the acting of the scenes as well in those moments.
Yes.
How complicated
Yeah.
did that
It
become
was
for
all
you?
in real time. None of that's like edited together. It's all real time.
So if we watch very closely, can we see you listen, trying to hear what they're trying to say in the
I have
background?
no idea. Maybe because I was definitely like, guys, where's my key? It was definitely hard to hear sometimes, especially those quieter, intimate moments, besides like yelling at times. So it was definitely a struggle to get used to. And I may have held back some tapes being like, sorry guys, I didn't hear my cue. But it was definitely good, and I'm happy with how it turned out.
So the director who, and I guess he's also one of the stars, is Franklin Rich.
Yes.
So what was he like as a director, and how did this collaboration work with you two?
He's so incredible. We just have like just a crazy bond. Like we just have so much fun together, but we're also great in work environments. And he's great about giving me direction. If he feels like something is not true to her character, or just something isn't working like timing wise or diction wise, he definitely kept me on top of my diction with those big words. So it was great. And I think that a lot of the stuff would not have been the same without him.
So how receptive was he to your input for what you wanted for the character? Or was it kind of, it's like how did that interaction work?
No, he definitely is very open to input, and he's always like, guys, if you feel like something is not working, like tell me and we will talk about it as a team. It was just a group effort for sure. And I love directors like that because I'm always open to feedback from them, but I love when they're open to feedback from me too.
Now, without giving away too much, you had the opportunity to act alongside Lance Henriksen, who is
Yeah.
obviously one of the great icons of TV and movie history. So, what was that experience like for you?
He is so amazing. Like he definitely deserves that legend title that goes along with his name. He's really just grounded and down to earth though, which I love to see with people who have a lot under their belt. I love to see that they can still be just like a really normal person. And he was really great. He had a lot of wisdom for me, and we would just have conversations off the like outside of taping. And it was he's just a really good person, and we bonded really instantly. But he also had a nickname for me. It was Muhammad Ali. And so after every take, he'd be like Muhammad Ali. And it was always like a confidence booster for me. And he was just great to be around.
So, did they say where did that nickname come from?
I think that he should answer where it came from because he never really quite told me, but I always just took it as like just a little kick to keep going and a little bit of confidence for those big scenes.
So, Muhammad Ali. I'm interviewing him tomorrow. afternoon, so I can totally ask him.
Great. Yeah, definitely ask him.
So obviously he's been acting for, I don't want to age the guy unnecessarily, but more than a decade. Let's just go say that. For more than a decade he's been in acting. So what did you get to learn from him as a veteran actor?
So much. I think we just had a lot of conversations about just the industry itself and what all goes into acting, and he would also give me feedback, which was great, and he would be like, you're killing this, and I'm like, thank you, like that means so much. Or and he was incredible in the scenes too, which I learned so much from just watching him as an actor.
So the cool thing about the movie, and I think, is that is very timely, because right now we have a lot of questions about artificial intelligence. We have the chat bots that's been all over the news now and again. So making a film like this, how do you think this film will impact that discussion?
I hope that the film will make people want to talk about it even more, and in the eyes of the film, because it's crazy how relevant it is. Like this script was written almost 2 years ago, I think. And so yeah, I think that it's just really relevant right now, and it's a great time for it to be coming out, and people have so many questions about AI, which is great because we love talking about it with people and answering those questions. And I think that we just hope the film incites discussion about it.
So how did the film either alter, change, or develop your thoughts on the subject?
I really, going into it, didn't know too much about it, but I do know that like it's crazy that AIs can be almost so close to humans. But I do still feel like humans bring a quality that AI can never be able to bring, even though they seem so realistic. But it is so cool that they're able to do things like creating art, or like even just some of our jobs. It's crazy to me that things so amazing have been created, but it's also a little bit scary that they could one day replace us.
So I know you can't give anything away if we don't give spoilers away. Do you feel that, from based on this movie and based on what you know, is pursuing AI a good thing or a bad thing?
That's a hard question. I feel like I do not want to answer it until y'all watch the film. And then yeah, I feel like it's everyone's own opinion and everyone's own thoughts. And I hope that maybe the film will not really just change it, but give you some more information on about the subject.
They said I really did think it was a very well done movie. So give props to the director, the whole cast. You guys were awesome. So where can our listeners find the Artifice Girl, and what's next for you?
Yes, you can watch The Artifice Girl on Amazon Prime, Apple TV, Vudu, Google Play, all of those. And you can go to the Artifice Girls Instagram if you have Instagram, and you can follow them there. That tells you all the information and also some movie theater screenings that we'll be having coming up this week. So definitely follow that if you can. And right now I'm just auditioning. It's a little bit slow with the looming writer's strike. But I'm really just living in the now, and doing interviews like this are super fun.
So did you talk to the director about potential sequels from this? I mean, there's whispers of the Artifice Girl 2.
I have no idea. You never know. I mean, maybe, maybe not.
Well, Miss Matthews, you've been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much. And like I said, The Artifice Girl is a wonderful movie. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. You too.